Welcome back to Baywatching Nights, everyone. And I think, for a change, now I can say the nights will never be the same. Because I got some Baywatch Nights scripts, baby! I've been wanting to get my greedy little hands on some night scripts for a while now, because this show is such a mystery. Is it truly written that badly? Is some of it a victim of editing? Or do the scripts perhaps enlighten us on things that were lost in translation? After reading them, I can say it's a little of all of the above. I'll cover the rest of the scripts in the next video, as they're all episodes I've previously covered, except for the 8th Seal, which I'll be talking about here. But is also an episode I've already covered. Yeah, so my very first Baywatch-related video was about the 8th Seal. This was way back when I first watched Baywatch Nights, had never seen any regular Baywatch, and quite frankly, didn't know what I was doing. I'd like to think I've gotten a lot better since then, and I certainly have a lot more Baywatch knowledge. And so I'm gonna take another crack at it here. I'm not going to rewatch my old video because it's embarrassing, so forgive me if I repeat or contradict myself, but I think personally this will be way better. So let's get to it! Content warning. This episode of Baywatch Nights features several scenes of attempted suicide. They're, not very well done, but just letting you know. Let me begin by spoiling things that have already been spoiled. But this episode is Alexandra Paul's triumphant return and swan song for the Baywatch universe. At least until the reunion movie. It's okay if I say this now, because the episode itself didn't give a shit about ruining it for the audience by just slapping us with a giant credit for Alexandra Paul about 10 minutes in. And it's honestly just a glorified cameo at the end that she did as a favor to David Hasselhoff, but it is truly my favorite Baywatch Nights moment. In fact, this might be my favorite episode of Baywatch Nights, period. There's just so much silly stuff packed in a way that's uncharacteristically not boring or overly confusing. Even if Stephanie wasn't in this episode, I would still consider it to be one of the all-time greats. Hasselhoff is at his hammiest, and that's what we all tuned in for. The nights were never the same. Snap into a Slim Jim! We begin with Mitch von Malibu on a jog when out of nowhere, this creepy description appears in the script. An attractive 11-year-old girl walks up the sidewalk, carrying a large, worn, one-eyed teddy bear. I personally don't see why they specifically needed an attractive 11-year-old girl, but I guess this enlightens us as to what age the character is supposed to be. The actress was 14 at the time, and her stunt double was definitely an adult. My supernatural save! Truly, Mitch wouldn't have been able to pull this off without the help of the badly ADR'd extras.
What's going on? What happened, man? Oh, man.
What's she doing?
Call paramedics or something. I just called him. Good. Look, I think he's got her. Really?
Having rescued the girl, Jenny, from the attempt to take her life, Mitch is deeply concerned.
Why would you want to die? I mean, come on. Young. You're pretty.
I mean, if you were an ugly 11-year-old, I'd get it. But an attractive one? You have so much to live for.
At the hospital, Mitch meets with a doctor to discuss the situation. This character was originally written to be a man, and the actress, Karen M. Waldron, will be seen again in the Season 9 premiere of Baywatch proper. And Jenny's parents are played by Gregory Scott Cummins, who was previously on Baywatch Nights in Silent Witness, and Tane McClure, who hasn't been on Baywatch before, but was in a film the previous year called Baywatch Forbidden Parody. So, basically she was on Baywatch.
I really think you're making some sort of mistake here.
No, wait. There's more. Take a look at this.
And speaking of Jenny's parents, when Mitch wonders where they are, he's informed that they asked for her to be sent home in a cab.
They're not even gonna come here to thank me in person? Unacceptable! I'm taking her there myself!
I am ready to return to my parental lair, Mitch von Malibu.
Seems normal. Let's go! A thanks for saving our daughter party? Well, now we're talking!
But this isn't a thanks for saving our daughter party at all! In fact, Jenny's parents don't give two shits that she just tried to kill herself. When the dad pays Mitch off for his trouble, Mitch feels slightly hollow about getting the money, but not the gratitude.
$10? Pff, cheapskates. Ryan, what are we gonna have for lunch? I only have $10 and that useless Hobie is at his mother's, so he can't make me anything.
Because Ryan is doing actual work, she tells Mitch what she's come up with concerning the parents. They've won the lottery 3 times in a row, which is kind of strange, and Jenny was only recently adopted by them. The adoption thing isn't really necessary for this plot to work, but they have to pad out the runtime, which is why they added this phone call that wasn't in the script. Despite the fact Ryan just ran a background check on the parents, and that's how she found out all of that stuff she told Mitch, she makes a call to someone they never bothered to identify and asks for another background check on the parents. Apparently, all of Jenny's records of her past have been sealed, including who her birth parents are, but then we see that Ryan has written "killed her parents" on her notepad? How did she come to that conclusion if she doesn't even know who her birth parents are or if they're even dead? All they know about this little girl is that she's suicidal and neglected. This theory is never brought up in dialogue nor acknowledged again. And it is never explained why her birth records are sealed, by whom, and for what purpose.
You know what? Just do a core dump directly into my computer. I need everything you got.
Just do a core dump directly into my computer?
The devil is watching as we slide into the night.
Pretty spooky, huh, folks?
Suddenly remembering that Baywatch Nights loves to do everything twice because that means they have to write less and can shoot in the same locations, Mitch once again rescues Jenny from trying to jump off a bridge. And this time, she's coming to Mitch's house to replace that stupid Chef Hobie.
I'm making you an omelet.
Oh, yeah!
As presented in the episode, Jenny hears Mitch talking to Ryan on the phone before informing him that she's making an omelet. But in the script, he hangs up on Ryan before entering the room, meaning Jenny only knows Mitch is there because of her spooky omelet senses. Even though her back is turned to Mitch and he hasn't made a sound, "I'm making you an omelet," Mitch is caught. The strange thing is, he is hungry. But how the hell does she know that? Mitch is never hungry. How could she have known?
Huh? How the hell did that chair know that I'm hungry?
We always know when Mitch von Malibu is hungry. He is insatiable. The world shall be consumed by the beast of the beach.
Hey, would you keep it down? I'm trying to get a hold of Hobie and tell him that his shift is covered.
Another amusing aspect of reading these scripts is discovering that Griff is still in many of them, meaning they were expecting Eddie Cibrian to be there until the end of the season. This exposition dump scene with Ryan and Teague originally had Griff there. He had like 5 lines and they just gave them to Ryan, thus confirming Griff was absolutely useless. How, oh how, did they write out all of his integral, contractually obligated appearances? There's a lot of exposition here, but basically, Jenny's parents made a deal with a demon so they could get rich. Baywatch Nights recognizes that Ryan and Teague sitting around talking is kind of boring, so they've intercut the scene with shots of Mitch eating an omelet to spice things up.
You know that this is all legend, okay? This is all fantasy.
Is it?
Teague proceeds to go on and on about how this sort of thing is happening in other places, to other orphans, because all of them are genius psychics or something?
Every one of them has a learning curve that skews off the charts in psychic sensitivity, precognition, psychokinesis. They have the power.
Sorry to repeat this so often in this series, but what the fuck is Teague talking about? The only sort of powers we see from Jenny seem to be demon-related. I mean, aside from the part of the script where maybe she psychically knows Mitch is watching her make an omelet, none of this ever comes into play or is even mentioned again. And in fact, this whole section of dialogue isn't even in the script. Did Baywatch Nights just keep adding shit like this into episodes because of the X-Files? Does everything need to be a conspiracy? And later, they add in even more scenes where they say that the demon possessing Jenny is connected to the book Ryan read in that witchcraft episode? Do they think that this is what continuity is? Just referencing a random other episode and saying they're nonsensically related? But, I mean, I guess I should trust Teague knows what he's talking about. He is familiar with the time of the demons. They find out that the other super special kids gave in to the demons possessing them and lived, meaning Jenny is trying to kill herself to escape the demon. But earlier in the episode, this conversation implies that the demon made her do it.
Well, then she could do it again.
No, not while she's with Mitch. His personality is too strong. He's too willful. If anything, he'll present the challenge, not Jenny.
I I see. This demon didn't realize it would be taking on a strong, willful lifeguard personality. That's the real challenge.
Well, then we need to warn him.
Not yet. Not till we're ready.
Teague, you're a fucking idiot.
This is your son's room. Do you think he'd mind?
Absolutely not.
This is your son's bed. Do you think he'd mind?
Shh! Do you think he'd mind if we float his bed evilly off the floor?
Actually, I think he would mind that. Fart attack!
Honey, you gotta listen to me.
Have to say, may I?
You have to say, may I? Don't you know the rules? You, of all people? You're a lifeguard. You live on rules, Mitch. Absolutely. But be careful, Mitch. Lifeguards always must be careful, no matter how much danger they face.
You'll never wear down my willful lifeguard personality! That was weird. Anyway, I'm bushed. Sleep tight, you little scamp. Well, the night is still young, and there's a Taco Bell within walking distance. Son of a Mitch! You're a monster! A monster!
And an exploding teddy bear? This might be as scary as exploding flowers. Now she's gone too far.
That special effect was terrible! I won't take this anymore! Go into Hobie, you hear me? Go into Hobie!
Good thing we didn't warn Mitch about this until we were ready. So does this mean Mitch is also a super special psychic child, or does this have to do with his willful lifeguard personality? Maybe it's both. I mean, he did have a psychic link with an alien boy once. Realizing that they've spent 14 minutes, over a third of the episode, sitting in the same spot spewing out a nonsense info dump, Ryan and Teague decide to head on over to Mitch's house. Dorian Gregory runs into a coat rack, and they're off. I actually have 2 scripts for this episode, and the one with Griff still in it cuts off as the 3 of them arrive at Mitch's, so I'll never know what amazing things he added to the climax. I guess it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, because this scene was always gonna be about Mitch, baby!
What do you mean, am I all right? Don't I look all right? How am I doing? How do you think I'm doing? Cat got your tongue?
Yes, yes! Mwah, mwah, mwah! Beautiful! No notes! This is the perfect episode! We might as well say this was the finale and end on a high note! After 18 episodes of watching Hasselhoff slowly drag his way through his Baywatch Nights community service, barely being able to give even the slightest shit about the most insane of things, we finally get to see him break out some acting! And folks, I am living for this ham and cheese. This is, without a doubt, the most entertaining episode of Baywatch Nights, and it's not even close. Past me recognized it, present me recognizes it, and future generations will never forget. Let this be a monument to what all of Baywatch Nights should have been. Mephistopheles von Malibu will always be here to lift our spirits. I salute Hasselhoff. I'm sorry I ever doubted him. His face is sallow and drawn. His voice is slow and calculating.
Hi, guys.
Pretty spooky, huh, folks?
I love this. Okay, so Mitch is supposed to be really getting into Teague and Ryan's heads here. A major mindfuck, if you will. And considering Teague has been such a mysterious presence, I'm sure it has to really rattle him that Mitch now knows all of his secrets.
Well, go ahead, Teague. Tell her. Go ahead. Tell her what you're thinking. Go ahead.
According to this dialogue that they cut, Teague was thinking Ryan should leave. But in the final version, I guess he's thinking nothing. Mitch raises a hand, points off screen. In the fireplace, a flaming fire erupts. As the scenery threatens utter collapse after Hasselhoff has chewed nearly all of it away, Ryan has had enough. The script describes a disturbing scene where Ryan tases Mitch, and his only reaction is to stare at her creepily with glowing red eyes, unfazed by her attempts to subdue him. But what if, instead of that, he just shrieked and flailed around a bunch?
You'll never make me care about Hobie. Never!
More dialogue where Mitch taunts them and sets a spooky atmosphere and they actually try? No thanks! That too is ditched in favor of Hasselhoff laughing crazily and just stumbling around. They've given up all attempts at making you feel anything but amused delight.
Tremble in fear of my subtlety.
Ryan tries to get through to Mitch, forgetting that her character is so meaningless to him that she will go completely unmentioned 3 episodes from now when this series ends. And Teague doesn't know what to do when asked to accomplish anything other than faux deep dialogue about nothing. Props to the visible crash mat, though. No, it isn't until Mitch sees his dead girlfriend's shelf that something is touched deep inside him.
No! My exploding frog hybrid girlfriend wouldn't want this! What's become of me?
Mitch races out, bursts up the street, running insanely. I don't think we're supposed to be laughing at Mitch becoming so distraught that he attempts to end his own life via semi-truck, but with Baywatch Nights, you never know. It honestly took me way too long to get that this was supposed to be a parallel to Jenny trying to take her own life to stop the demon, but to be fair, the moment was so absolutely batshit bonkers that I had trouble focusing on anything. And as written, it was a little more coherent, with Mitch running to the bridge Jenny jumped off of and slowly contemplating the dark, swirling waves below. And then he decides to hurl himself in front of a tractor? Which, I mean, okay. But the way the episode frantically edits this bullshit, Mitch just rushes down the street and immediately steps in front of a truck for seemingly no reason, screaming like a madman. So you'll forgive me for missing some of the nuances of the story. But anyway, who cares? Let's bring in the star of the episode!
When you're all alone, looking out for love.
Meow, 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 meow. Bet you thought you'd seen the last of me, huh, Mitch? Well, guess again. I'm gonna haunt your ass to life.
No! Killing myself was my save, Stephanie! My save! I'm finally gonna get out of Baywatch, and you're not gonna stop me!
Listen, you little wiener. I have to spend the rest of my afterlife in a sexy swimsuit, despite the fact I died in a dumpy rain slicker. You can never escape Baywatch. You're gonna be Mitch Fun Malibu forever!
That's not true! Say psych right now!
But you died last year.
I died 2 months ago in February, Mitch.
I'm just a lifeguard / monster hunter, Stephanie. You can't expect me to be able to tell time.
What's it like?
Oh, it's great. I got reincarnated as a dog and I get to boss Caroline around and no one will ever believe her. I'm thinking about branching out into other animals, so she'll never know where I am and live in constant fear, but I kinda like being a dog since you hate them so much.
I'm glad I missed your wedding to go catch a jellyfish.
Stupid Mitch thinks that now that they're both dead, he and Stephanie can be together and show up that stupid best friend of his, what's his name? But unfortunately, Stephanie informs him that he's gotta live.
You're still needed, Mitch.
You're still needed, Mitch. People still love you.
I enjoyed that this implies that nobody loves Stephanie anymore. And she says offhandedly that the demon found another host after the accident. Well, I guess we'll never have to look into that. But before Stephanie leaves, hey, remember how when she died, she was trying to tell Mitch that she loves him, tragically unable to finish the sentence before leaving her worldly body? Well, let's just completely undercut that in this stupid demonic possession episode on Mitch's Supernatural PI spin-off show.
There's something I didn't finish telling you. I love you.
I love me too.
I know this is crazy, but we might just be able to dissolve cut Mitch to life.
Hope he's with his mother!
Well, I guess that's over. What about Jenny's parents, huh? A massive explosion of sparks which showers down on them, engulfs them, and their entire forms are incinerated. Or they just sort of fade out in an unfinished effects shot. Back at Casa de Buchanan, Mitch gently cradles a chicken soup for the soul mug as he recovers from his traumatizing night. Not only did he see Stephanie again, but he's confirmed the existence of an afterlife. I'm sure this is something meaningful that will change him forever. Or never be mentioned again.
Stephanie.
Who's Stephanie?
What? Who's Stephanie? She only died like 7 episodes ago. Did Mitch never talk about seeing her die or going to her funeral or even her existence? Did he never seem distraught over the recent death of his one true love? Did Ryan never ask about his dead girlfriend shelf on which Stephanie features prominently? Did Ryan never meet her in that one weird episode where she showed up on normal Baywatch? Stephanie never came up in the 2 years that Mitch has known Ryan? Did Mitch neglect to mention her because he wanted to get into Ryan's pants? What the hell is wrong with him?
I'll make sure you never forget me, Mitch, because I'm always gonna be watching you. My save.
Okay, actually, real quick, I just noticed in the end credits, the theme is titled Your Nights Will Never Be the Same, despite the fact Mitch says The Nights Will Never Be the Same, and that's the title on Alfonso Blackwell's album? Everything about this show is a lie.
Next time on Baywatch Nights,
let's talk about more scripts. Your nights will never be the same.